Good morning. In our book, The Shift, the future of work is already here. The author Linda Grattan writes about generational markers as follows. Generational cohorts, or people born roughly at the same time, who as a consequence tend to have rather similar attitudes and expectations. They are often brought up with the same child rearing practices and have similar experiences as teenagers and young adults. This is a particularly sensitive period for acquiring a moral and political orientation. These shared experiences are termed generational markers. These are important since they provide clues about how these generations will behave as they move into positions of decision making at work and have increasing access to resources. The first classification is known as the Traditionalist. They are born prior to 1947. These are the characteristics or traits of a traditionalist cohorts. This group's style and preferences, both work and home, are clearly affected by World War II. This created an environment of instability, personal sacrifice, and significant change in the roles of women. As a result, members of this cohort developed a desire for loyalty, dependability, and being rewarded for working towards a common goal. With communication challenges many of us have not experienced, their world is one of formal, focused communication, where they prefer to communicate face to face. They have seen significant technology changes take place and are open to learning about them from their grandchildren and great grandchildren, but their preference remains to be what most of us would consider formal, face to face. The world of work for this group is one in which the employees remain loyal to one employer, being company focused. They are focused on producing results for their company and their boss and believe one is compensated for doing their job well. They put aside their own needs for the company and job security. Taking into consideration their focus on company loyalty and producing company results, it behooves leaders to keep them around as long as they are willing to be active in their workplace. The second classification of generational markers are known as baby boomers, born between 1947 to 1966. This is by far the largest demographic group today and the largest in history. Hence, their effect on the workplace, its structure, its systems and processes, how it functions on a daily basis is more than significant. The result is a workplace where competitiveness, results orientation, promotion, and career growth are dominant and highly prized by these employees. They are generally optimistic and team oriented, but they are also, as individuals, competitive when it comes to promotion. Baby boomers were born into an abundant, healthy economy. Their formative events include the development of the computer, then the personal computer, the internet, and the birth control pill. This created an environment where women were able to enter more non traditional roles and the two income family became the norm. With dual incomes, this group began to consume products and services at a fast pace. Since they define their self worth and others by the type of work they do, by the position they hold in their organization, they consume those items that demonstrate to others their position in their work hierarchy. They live to work and expect everyone else to have the same work ethic and work the same amount of hours. The communication style of baby boomers is much more informal than that of the traditionalist. They prefer to remain connected via technology, particularly through email, and they are heavily into networking both on site and online. They utilize all forms of communications, whether formal or informal, and they are the fastest growing group in the social media world. They continue to dominate the luxury products and services industry as they continue to practice consumption as a learned behavior. This is the cohort with all the expertise, the ones whom have crafted today's organizations and the ones who still lead the majority of organizations. The focus for this group should be their expertise, recognize it, and harvest it for others. Then comes generational X. They are born between 1966 to 1979. Generational X cohorts have grown up in the shadow of the baby boomers and is more focused on work life balance than their predecessors. They are the first latchkey kids, children of dual income, traditionalist and first stage boomers. Due to the increasing divorce rate post World War II, this generation appears resilient, adaptable, and independent. They work to live and view the world with some cynicism and distrust. The members of this cohort grew up with the internet and at an early age began to see cellular technology as an integral part of their life, particularly their personal and social life. They are fully networked, utilizing all forms of communication technology to keep in touch with their work life, their colleagues, their friends, and their family. They are the generation of self reliance, and although career oriented like the boomers, they are more interested in finding that balance between work and their personal life and being rewarded for outcomes rather than results. They find ways to integrate the members of this cohort more firmly into the organization. The resilience of their nature provides them with a solid foundation for accepting, implementing, and integrating organizational changes. With their desire for work life balance, they are the right managers and leaders to coach and mentor both of the largest generation, boomers and Generation Y. Then comes Generation Y, born between 1980 and 1995. The next largest demographic group have, for all intents and purposes, been heavily influenced by the manner in which their boomer parents have behaved. The nature of the helicopter parent is deemed to have created a generation that is focused on themselves and their needs. Helicopter parent is a parent who takes an overprotective or excessive interest in the life of their child or children. They have the same desire as the boomers for rapid success, expecting to move quickly up the organizational ladder, even though they may not have the requisite skills or knowledge. Their loyalty is to their colleagues, those within the cohort, and they believe everyone is equal. They are focused on the broader community at the other end of the spectrum from the traditionalists. These cohorts, formative events or the introduction of smartphone technology, and they have grown up with the iPhone and the BlackBerry. They communicate almost exclusively through these types of devices, preferring to text rather than to talk. Their communication vehicles are mobile and they have a very extensive network of friends. They are the Facebook generation, preferring to update their status daily to an audience, most of whom they have never met personally, then share their personal lives face to face with their family and friends. Similar attitudes of this group to their boomer parents include belief in employment, a term deployed during the years when the boomers began to enter the workforce in large numbers and demand changes to the hierarchical world of work. They demand reward and recognition. This group, like the boomers before them, expect to be rewarded for what they do. The difference being they expect these rewards for participation as well as productivity and performance. And they question authority without any fear. Remember the 1960s? That was the period when the baby boomers took on every possible authority figure and institution, sometimes to extremes. This plays out with Generation Y in the workplace as they challenge the boomer notions of promotion, capability, capacity, and career progression. What is most interesting about the Y cohorts is although they demand reward and recognition for effort and question unequivocally all that has been put in place in organizations, structures, processes, and systems by boomers. They still want face to face coaching and mentoring from their bosses. This should be a key area of focus for today's leaders, not that different from what they themselves demand. The last classification is the Millennial Generation, born from 1995 all the way to 2017. The Millennials are the second largest generational cohort in the general population. They were raised in a time where violence, terrorism, and drugs became realities of life. Raised by parents who nurtured and structured their lives, they are drawn to their families for safety and security. They are a global generation and accept multiculturalism as a way of life. Technology and the instant communication made possible by cellular phones have always been part of their lives. This generation is often compared to the veterans or the traditionals in their values. A higher level of interest in nursing among this generation has been noted, and applications to nursing programs significantly increased as they entered college. At present, this is the smallest cohort in the nursing workforce, but the numbers of millennials is growing. So the millennials is the hope of our future. Thank you. Goodbye.